So, Alex, in the segment of games you probably never thought that I would play, but I did. I finished literally.
You already talked about Roblox.
Yeah. So there was that. But no, I recently, very recently, like yesterday, finished Boyfriend Dungeon, which had just come out a
Perfect.
little while ago.
What was the boss fight?
The boss fight. Oh, should I get into spoiler? No one cares. Okay.
Spoiler here. Skip to like 2 minutes ahead of now,
Yeah.
if you care.
Yeah, if you care, I'm gonna do some spoilers for Boyfriend Dungeon, and it's probably only gonna take like 2 to 5 minutes. If it really matters to you. But I'm not gonna do too much. No, the final boss battle is like this zombie-like creature called that they call Katana, who's made up of like little bits and pieces of all the other weapons that that have been put together by this very obsessive character in the game.
Well then.
Yeah. Which I think was actually one of the more controversial parts about the game that I'm not going to get into very much right here.
Oh, I did see there was some sort of controversy around Boyfriend Dungeon.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the general, like, I know I didn't particularly think it was a huge deal, but I totally understand why people were like, yeah, you probably should have had a better content warning for it, because I was like, it's an interesting way to present the information, guys. But anyway, it kind of leads to that, where you have the fight, that last little fight. But the general idea about Boyfriend Dungeon is, for people who are not aware, it's actually pretty self-explanatory. Basically, you go to this Verona beach for the summer, and and your cousin tells you it's the summer of love, and it's basically like a dungeon crawler with a dating sim, and you date the weapons you use in the dungeons. So, how does that work? Well, glad no one asked.
Nobody asked, but tell us anyways.
I will tell you anyway. So, in this world, for reasons they never really explain, some people are able to transform into weapons.
I really hope there's a magical girl sequence.
There is an anime sequence showing every single weapon transforming into a person.
Perfect. That is a magical girl sequence. Even if it's not a magical girl, I think it's still classified as a magical girl sequence.
Sure.
Don't ask. I don't know.
Yeah. There is the one female character that you can date. But most of them male, or non-binary, or there's also a cat.
Yes.
You don't really fall in love with the cat, but you can give the cat pets, and you can raise their love level up. That they love. The cat is brass knuckles when it's a weapon pocket. But for the record, played through to the end, and also brought love level up to a full max of 6 for all 7 characters. Yep, that was me. That was the last few days of my life.
Alright then.
Yep. Yeah.
Gonna cry a little for all that love lost.
You're gonna cry for that? Well, you know, it was interesting. It was interesting. It was fine.
Sure.
I like the dungeon crawling stuff. It was
Yeah.
fun.
I like dungeon crawlers.
Yeah. It definitely isn't. I think some people might compare it to roguelikes. It's not really a roguelike, because you actually gain experience at the end of every one of your runs, and you get money and crafting materials and stuff that you can use in the overworld. So it's
Would it be more of a roguelite then?
possibly. I mean, I'm I'm actually playing a roguelite right now, and it is one of those where a lot of the stuff that you accrue in dungeon, if you die, you don't keep.
What are you playing now?
I'm playing a little of Hades right now.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's roguelite.
That's
Because
roguelite.
you can make progress,
Right.
but there's still each run is kind of its own thing.
Right. In Hades, the whole notion is you do get to choose like a boon to take in. You get to choose a weapon to take in, and there are some points as you go through to different dungeons and stuff. But like,
yeah, but
money and advances and stuff in the dungeons don't carry over.
yeah, each run resets them, right?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten deep enough into it, but I think after you complete one section, you can jump to like the next section after you've moved on to it, so you don't have to redo it all over again.
I know Curse of the Dead Gods, which I have, which is roguelite, which I've played a bunch of and haven't in a little bit, but it's decent. Is you can upgrade the temple where you begin with, like, you do accrue the monetary unit outside of the dungeon from defeating bosses and stuff.
Okay.
And then you can use that to upgrade your altars, and you can upgrade a couple passive abilities.
Sure.
And all that, and then unlock different weapons. The altars can offer. So like you've got 4 altars at the beginning of your dungeon that you can upgrade, and you can unlock. You start with 1. You start with none. You unlock 1. Then you can unlock 2, 3, and 4. And each one will have a primary weapon, secondary weapon, and I think there's a third weapon. Oh, a 2-handed weapon is what it is.
Ah.
So at first they just have a primary weapon. Then you can upgrade to give them a secondary, upgrade to give them a 2-handed. So each one will have a different set of weapons on it.
Sure.
Each time you're on the dungeon, and they'll be random each time.
Right.
So it's like, all right, you're starting the dungeon with pick your choice of these weapons that each have these abilities, which are randomized a bit.
Sure.
So it's like, this is your starting point. Pick which one you want, and then go from there.
Right. Right.
Which is, it's roguelike.
Right, right. In Hades, they have similar things where there's some different crafting materials you can use to like add more things to the dungeons during runs. That's also kind of like West of Dead or For the King, which were some other ones that I played. Similar to that, you'll get some kind of currencies that will not necessarily even aid you, but will add more stuff to the dungeons as you go through them the next run and the run after that. Boyfriend Dungeon's not like that. Everything that you get in there, including currency and stuff, you keep at the end. But more than that, you gain levels by going through it. At the end of each level, and then you by doing that, you also gain in power, and you gain levels, and you gain hit points that just stay with you. There really is no going back to the start. You even have some...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there, and also, like, every few levels or something, you also get the option to start further into the levels. Like, you can start at floor 1, and then, I think, 5, 7, 9, and 11 eventually.
That almost seems more like just an ARPG than a roguelite.
It's closer to that. The only big thing I'd say, though, is that they do kind of assume that you're either going to leave the dungeon in order to get all of your levels and stuff. You don't get those till you actually complete a run. You don't get the experience counted. Or you die. But when you die, you just fall down and you go back to your apartment. So there's a few different things. But it's very ARPG-ish.
Okay.
But then also you take the weapons in, and there are dates that you can go on in the dungeons with them, and you can give them gifts, which you craft, and stuff like that with crafting resources. So it's very much in the dungeon crawly RPG-ish kind of thing, but then there's also a whole dating mechanic that will make you think of literally the visual romance novels that you
Perfect, your
play.
favorite.
My favorite thing in the world.
Absolutely.
You know, they give you lots of options to play around with the different characters, but I was like, well, obviously what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to try to max out every single one of the characters. When you gain in love levels, they unlock new abilities for whatever they are, and then you can choose different options for each one of them. It's definitely a unique concept. I'm going to give them that.
Sure. Dating your cat weapon is pretty unique.
I gotta be honest with you, Pocket's kind of like the best out of all of them, because those Brax Knuckles are so fast, and something you don't know when you start is that when enemies have like the projectiles coming at you, saw blades or whatever, if you attack it, you can destroy the projectiles too. So really fast weapons are actually the best ones, because you can just whip through projectiles until you get to the actual thing and just start hitting it as much as humanly possible.
There you go.
And it's hard to get hurt unless you get really surrounded. But you have some interesting options, and they all do some fun stuff. I think the big problem I had was from a technical standpoint, the one problem that they have is, man, you know how sometimes we get accused of like looking at our phone too much in this day and age? You know? Anyway, well, I've heard tell that there are some people that get criticized for looking at their phone too much. And it's bad enough in real life, but in Boyfriend Dungeon, after I leave a dungeon and I've like raised up levels for like several of the characters, my phone never stops texting me from like everybody under the planet. And they couldn't have even just done me the service of just one block of text before I have to answer. It does like the 3 little dots to say that they're typing still.
Oh,
to do more lines. And so I've got like 10 minutes of trying to go through text messages for everybody, and then I have like 5 dates I have to go on, and after I do all of that and there's more text to tell me how great the dates were, then after all of this rigmarole, it's like, now back to the dungeon. And so pacing is an issue here of how it's laid out. It's not a particularly long game, and yeah, I'd say some of the themes in it, people would kind of like going, okay, but you know, it's a very unique experience. I did not think that I would really get into it, but I did finish it, so you know,
I mean, that's better than a lot of games, I guess, then.
Oh, yeah.
At least you finished.
Yeah, I know. I'm playing, like I said, I'm playing Hades right now, and I also have Curse of the Dead Gods that I have to start. I don't know if I'm finishing those, because they are much harder.
I will say I've gotten pretty far in Curse of the Dead Gods, but I have not beaten it yet. Like, there is an endpoint to it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there is a final boss, I believe.
Sure.
I think. I can't say for certain. I haven't done it, but there seems to be an endpoint to that one.
Right. So, and I know that Hades also has an endpoint, too. Like, usually roguelikes do this, but, you know, how driven I will be. That first boss in Hades, I had to run through that like 5 times in order to destroy that boss.
Yeah, you gotta get used to the boss fight.
Yeah, you gotta get used to the boss fights.
And even then, it will depend on like what weapons or boons or whatever you've got.
Oh yeah, you know what I found is super good is if you try to do boons that actually just hurt people when you do dashes, and then you just try to dash as much as you possibly can through everybody. I found that worked really, really well.
We'll have to do a talk about Curse of the Dead Gods once you play it.
Yeah.
So you'll have to let me know when you do play it so I can play it again. So I can be refreshed.
Yes, absolutely. Maybe we will do that for a game club just so that it gives us an excuse to play that.
to put way more hours into it. How many hours do I have in that really quick? I have, oops, not there. Where'd you go? There. Why isn't that favorited? I have played it for just about 40 hours.
Oh, okay. That's good. Well, then basically you just need a refresher course. And you should be fine. I haven't played it at all. I've been playing some other things, but
We need to catch up to my 40 hours of it then.
I gotta catch up to your 40 hours. Oh my god.
You need to do that this weekend. I don't care that you have a reunion to go to tomorrow.
That's right. I gotta still...
Playing that.
And I have nothing else to do this weekend, so that's perfect.
Yeah. Perfect.
Perfect. Great.
Solid plans.
That's terrific. All right. All right, everybody. I think that should do it for this week, unless I'm forgetting something. Am I forgetting something?
Everything.
Well, yeah, everything. But